Hey guys, it's JP Gloria, and today we're going to analyze Christian Coleman as he broke the world record for the 60-meter race in a time of 6.34 seconds. He is known for his incredible stride frequency as well as the power he generates through his legs, which is ideal for a world-class sprinter. Now let's jump into the analysis and take a closer look at the way he sprints. Before we look at specific parts of the body as he runs, let's first take a look at his start during the race. Coleman definitely has a solid start. However, even though this was the fastest official 60-meter ever ran, this was not his best start compared to other races. To see the difference, I'll show you a snippet of him having an excellent start, which was at the World Finals in Birmingham. If you compare both clips at 1 second, you can see the difference and see how Coleman covers a bit more ground during that race. Anyway, back to this race. First, let's take a look at how quickly he gets his first step in compared to the other sprinters. As you can see, it is slightly delayed compared to some of the sprinters to the right. One of the reasons why is the way he came out of the blocks during this race. If you look closely during this moment, instead of staying close to the ground and trying to get that first step in, he seems to push off the blocks a bit more vertically instead of horizontally. Pushing off slightly more vertically also decreases the amount of time spent in dry phase. Sprinters usually want to stay in dry phase with that forward lean to really utilize this position for increased force production through the legs, which results in quicker speeds. Now let's look to see if there's any path deviation as he starts off the blocks. Ideally, you want to sprint in a straight line as this is the quickest path to the finish line. If you look closely, Coleman does present with a slight deviation to the right as he pushes off the blocks, but this is very minimal, and after a few steps, he maintains a straight path toward the end. Now, I want to replay this clip in this view again as you can really appreciate how fast Coleman is able to move those legs. Playing this clip, you'll see he runs almost 30 steps in this race. This is actually around a similar amount of steps with some of the other sprinters here. Therefore, these sprinters may have a similar step length compared to each other. Since speed is equal to stride length multiplied by stride frequency, and step length needs to be similar, the real differentiating factor for increased speed is stride frequency, which is the ability to take steps quickly. Now, we are going to take a look at specific parts of the body starting at the feet and see how Coleman is able to maximize force production and maintain that high leg turnover. Starting at the feet, let's take a look at how his foot lands. As you can see, he lands right around the forefoot area. This allows for decreased stress on the joints and improves active push-off from the calf muscles. Also, landing in this area allows for decreased distance the foot has to roll over compared to midfoot and rear foot landing, leading to slightly increased foot turnover rates. As I mentioned before, while this type of foot landing may slightly help with improved ability to take steps, what matters even more is where the foot lands relative to the body's center of mass. While it may not be possible to land right under the center of mass unless you are accelerating, landing closer to it allows for even quicker transition from foot contact on the ground to pushing off, leading to increased stride frequency. As you can see, Coleman does this very well as his foot lands very close to where his body's center of mass would be. Now, if you compare this to the elite long distance runners we have analyzed before, you notice that they land slightly more forward. Landing slightly forward in this fashion allows for the elastic properties of the legs to be utilized, leading to more efficient movement. In Coleman's case, due to landing so close to his center of mass, the foot contact time on the ground is so short that the elastic properties of the muscles cannot fully be utilized. Basically, what is happening is an exchange of efficiency for increased speed. Next, let's move up to the knees. I'm not going to talk about how much his knees are able to bend. If we're going to look at some of the reasons why he has such quick turnover, we will look at the knee during the moment Coleman's foot transitions from toe off to swing phase. With some sprinters, they tend to overpush, which is exerting more force vertically than necessary. One way to notice this is to take a look at the knee and see if it begins to lag during this portion of the running cycle. With overpushing, the knee and thigh tend to move slightly backwards in relation to the body as the foot leaves the ground. With Coleman, this is not the case. You can see he does not overpush with the legs at all, as immediately after toe off, his knee and thigh are already moving forward to take the next step. This technique contributes to his incredible stride frequency. Next, let's look at the hips. Drawing a line through the pelvis, what we will look at in this region is vertical displacement, which is basically how much bounce he has in his stride. Due to how much power that is going through his legs, you would probably expect him to have a decent amount of vertical displacement as he runs. However, as you can see, there is actually not much of it going on. Of course, he needs some vertical force directed upward as he pushes off the ground, otherwise he would collapse and trip on his feet. Since the vertical displacement is not that much, most of the force seems to be directed more horizontally, adding to slightly increased stride length leading to quicker overall speed. Now moving up to the upper body, you can see he maintains an upright trunk throughout the race with a good forward lean of the body at around 20 degrees. This lean aids in improved momentum forward as well as improved utilization of the hip muscles for increased force production. Also, looking from the front of the body, you can see that most of the movement occurring at the trunk is symmetrical side to side and rotational movement, which is key as the body is supported by each leg. What is also great to see is the coordination of the upper body and lower body. You can see when the shoulder is fully bent or flexed on one side, the hip is maximally flexed on the opposite side. With proper timing, the rotation from the arms and trunk counteract the high levels of rotational force produced by the legs, allowing for fluid movement and maintain a straight path as he sprints to the finish line. Finally, looking at the head, he keeps it pretty stabilized with most of the movement occurring at the head is the side-to-side motion, similar to what is occurring at the trunk. While it does take extra energy to maintain this position, it does not matter as much as this race is very short. The stabilization at the head helps with increased core stability, which is key to decreasing energy leakage as high levels of force is produced at the legs. And that's all for the quick running analysis on Christian Coleman. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and want to see more videos, please check out my YouTube channel and subscribe and hit that bell button for future videos. Also, I've started to become a bit more active on Instagram, so please check me out there as well. Also, please feel free to comment below what you thought about this video. I really appreciate all the feedback and support you guys have given me. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching.